altar can be anyone for you. He can play any role, any gap you feel in your life, anywhere you feel, the lack of some. He can be a father to you. He can be a mother to you. He can be a friend to you. He can make you. He can be that special person in your life. He can play any role. He can be anything and everything and still nothing. Meaning he can be all of it. He's all in one. तो एक बार क्या हुआ कि my whole house caught fire. I had gone out and when I came back there was a whole blackout and there was like they had broken the door. There was full woolen carpet, there was glass wool in the ceiling, the whole room, everything caught fire. The fire brigade had to come, they had to break the glass to get in. Meaning it was really bad. I didn't even have a toothbrush the next day. So, and there was all smoke and everything, so I wasn't able to go that day. After a couple of days, when things, when the heat cooled down and the smoke was taken care of and all, we went in and we saw that everything was gone except my mandir, the altar where I had kept, Guruji's everything. And that altar was such, there was silk covering it, and that silk went all the way down, touching the carpet which had caught fire, but nothing happened to the silk. And then I had Guruji's padukas. Those days he used to wear, those padukas, the shoes, chappals made of straw. So those were placed there. And then I had one satsang book. So during satsang I used to make notes. That book was there. Nothing happened to it. It did not catch fire. That his slippers, his padukas were just like that. The whole house has caught fire, mind you. That mandir, nothing happened to. And it was drenched. That book was drenched when the fire brigade came and they sprayed water. So I said, okay, so it didn't catch fire, but look at it, it's wet now. Anyway, everything that's written in it is going to be destroyed. When I opened it after it was dry, there was not a word that was distorted. And then some people called Guruji in Bangalore. In those days there was no phone in the ashram. So the phone was in Jayanagar. So they would have to call Jayanagar. Jayanagar would bring a message to Guruji over here. So someone called Jayanagar to say that this is what's happened to Didi's flat. The whole thing has caught fire and everything is destroyed. So then later Guruji called me. He says, मैंने सुना तुम्हारे घर में आग लगी. I said, हाँ. मैंने सुना कि सब जल गया. I said, Guruji, सब जल गया. सब जल गया? I said, हाँ, सब जल गया. सब जल गया? I said, हाँ गुरुजी, सब जल गया, लेकिन वो जो मंदिर है ना, हमें वही सोच रहा था, उसको कैसे हो सकता है कुछ? वो तो दैवी शक्ति है. This is right after I met Guruji. Immediately after I met Guruji, my birthday was coming up. And ordinarily I would have thrown a party or something like that, but now my interest wasn't there in throwing parties. And, I wanted something nice, I wanted some celebration, but I wanted it to be a little different and I didn't know what. So there was no one special in my life at that time that, I could spend time with or anything. So I said, "Chal, doesn't matter now, one more birthday, it'll come and go." I'm thinking this thought, and in the meantime, the phone rings. That, again, at that time, there was no phone over here at the ashram. It was in Jayanagar. So before the thought came to my head, he had sent someone to Jayanagar to say, call her and tell her I'm coming to her place on the 23rd of May, which was my birthday. So I said, oh great, so we'll have Guruji over here, we can have satsang, meaning something to do. Then the thought came to my head that, but it means that no late night, no nothing. I mean, Guruji will come, we'll do satsang, we'll sleep early. I was younger, much younger, so I had a different idea of, party. And so I had that thought. I said, "Chal, doesn't matter. Guruji is coming, so it's a great thing." And those days he used to stay with me, so I was cleaning his room and I was doing everything. And this thought kept coming that, but my friends won't come, late night won't happen. It'll just be one satsang. Birthday, have a satsang. Because it was how many, 19 years ago this thought came to me. It was different in those days. So satsangs were also not the kind we have now, they're not rocking and jamming. It was a little different. So, and then, so the day arrives, and then, we're setting up everything, satsang, and then suddenly a taxi pulls up outside and Guruji gets out of the taxi and he comes in. He said, "Guruji, It turns out that he got up in the morning and he said, आज संगीता को सरप्राइज देते हैं, उसका बर्थडे, आज जल्दी चले जाते हैं. So he got in a taxi and he came with someone. He came home, and so then it was all celebration, and he pampered me, thoroughly pampered me. I had that. I had that thought that if there was someone special in my life, I could have had a special birthday. So he comes and he opens his bag, and the first thing he does is he gives me a heart-shaped box and he says, "Happy birthday," and he became that special person for me for that entire day. He gave me so much attention and he said such special things to me, and he wanted to know what I was wearing. Like, he just made it very special, that whole, he made me feel so special, like there's nothing lacking in your life. Don't worry, I am that special person in your life. He so clearly showed that to me. And then it was, and satsang came, and I had this thought that my friends won't be there. My friends came because it was my birthday, even though they didn't, for them, Guru and all at that time was very, they had not taken the course, they had not heard Art of Living, no one had seen Guruji. But once they came to satsang and then they saw Guruji, they fell in love. So they said, okay, now we don't want to go home, now we want to meet him. So I went up, I said, Guruji, I have a whole load of friends who want to meet you. He said, bring them up. So I took them up, and then, Guruji, he's just so loving and so playful. So he would take this cake, and then he had started a cake fight in the room. And then in those days, it was, you didn't get imported foods. The markets were not open, so you didn't get imported food. So he had just come from America. So he opened his bag, which was full of all these potato chips and all these goodies. And he had a whole party over there in that room with my friends. And then then my friends wanted to take him out somewhere. And he says, "Oh, out, Minnie, I've heard the beach is very nice in Bombay. Let's go to the beach." So then he took my friends and me to the beach, and we went for a nice moonlight walk, all of us. And then we came home, and it was so late in the night by the time we came home. So everything that I wanted, he gave me. Every thought that crossed my mind, it was given. It was done. I became a basic course teacher. And then Guruji was training me to teach advanced courses. He wanted me to take advanced. Now we were in Rishikesh. Rishikesh is so beautiful. Ganga Ji on one side, mountains on the other side. And I was very young. I did not know the importance. I didn't know that we had to be teachers. We had to go from basic to advanced course, becoming advanced. That understanding was not there. I was a little naive and immature. And so I just went to Guruji and I said, Guruji, I can't do this morning to evening, sit in one hall and teach the same course. I can't do this for the rest of my life. He says, तुम rest of the life इसलिए बोल रहे हो because you have no experience of death. Saying, बोर हो रहे हो? I said, हाँ बोर हो रहे हो जाओ. तुम्हारे एक के बोर होने से लाखों लोगों का कल्याण होता है, तो बोर हो जाओ, मर जाओ, जीते जी मर जाओ. Many years later, he had taken me to America, and he left me there and he came back. And then one day he calls me and he says, so have you planned, do you have any plans for your life? Like, what do you want, do you want to get married, what is it that you want? And then after I hung up, I said, here divinity himself is asking me, what do you want? And what am I going to say? What everyone else has. One husband, one child, one house, one car, one job. I mean, you don't need a guru for these things. Your divinity himself is saying, what do you want? Whatever I ask for, it will only last a few years. In another 20 years, before you know it, time will be up and it will be gone, And then suddenly Guruji's words came back to me. And I said, oh, I understand. I said, Guruji, I'm ready to die now. अब मैं मरने को तैयार हूँ. From this moment, let there be no Sangeeta. Every moment of my life, you take it over and you use it only for your work. Let me be only of use to you, only of service to you. Let there be no me. Through me you do whatever you have to. And from that day till today, I have been so beautifully taken care of, so beautifully taken care of.